there, everybody. Welcome to the first ever, first week, first day, first everything of the Pauper Premiere League here with CoolStuffInc.com and also sponsored by Wizards of the Coast. Thank you so much, Wizards. I'm Kendra Smith, and this is...
Hi, my name is Alex Ullman. You might know me on Twitter as @NerdToTheCore, and I really like Pauper, and I am so excited to be here and to, I'm playing tonight, but I'm so excited just to have a chance to talk about Pauper with all of you. So, Kendra, what do we have on the cards for us tonight?
Awesome. So we have 6 whole matches. We have... Let me see if we pull these up here.
So I know we're with Evan Irwin versus Andreas Peterson, and that's going to give us, is it Delver? That's Evan's deck against Andreas on Affinity. So then you'll see me running Goblins against probably one of my nightmare matchups, which is Black-White Pestilence Control with by Michael Bonde. Not a guy who made the top 8 of a Mythic Championship a couple months ago or anything. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about how this league is going to work. There are 12 competitors. You've just met 4 of us. Kendra's going to go into the other.
Oh, I guess we just lost Alex. So what's going to happen is we're going to run through. We're going to do this little round robin. So we've got everybody kind of set up here. And we're doing, like Alex was saying, Evan versus Andreas to start. We have Alex versus Michael. Then we have Michael versus Evan. Evan versus Alex. Alex versus Andreas. Andreas versus Michael. So we've got a whole slew of crazy matchups here. And this is how we're basically going to do all of these going forward here. Every week is going to be a little different. And we're basically doing 1 pod to start and the first week here. Next week will be a second pod. And then the following week after that will be a third pod of each one 4 different players. After that...
Looks like I'm back.
Excellent. Welcome back, Alex.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Middle of thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And so the way the pods are set up, so there was no way around it because we're doing 6 players. There's going to be pods where people are going to have to play each other twice. So, I got the Vintage Super League champion. I drew my Andreas Peterson twice. So I'll be playing him tonight, and I'll be playing him in about a month as well. You're going to need about a 4-2 record, we think, to advance to the playoffs. But people with 5-1 or, if you go undefeated, you're getting a bye right to the end of the playoffs. And, I think it needs to be said, thank you so much to both Randy Bueller and Athena Froelich for helping us out and being so supportive when we came to them for help, and just can't thank them enough.
Yeah, thanks so much. They inspired us. They basically inspired us to get this whole project off the ground, even start in the first place. Obviously, very similar kind of style and theme to the Super League, which are fantastic watches. I highly recommend. If you don't already, give them a look. Cool Stuff Inc. sponsors them as well. So...
and Cool Stuff Inc., they're doing something really awesome for us. If you use the code PPL5, you're going to get about 5% off in the store. So go right there, use that code. It's a great way to start your Pauper collection. And
exactly.
Please
note, though, that does not stack with any customer reward discounts that you have on your account.
So,
and last but not least,
go ahead.
One other one that I believe we have to thank. We have to thank the wonderful people at Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring this channel. #sponsored.
So you want to get into the first matchup of the night?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So this is actually one of, it's a classic Pauper matchup. What you have is Blue-Red Delver. Is it Delver? It's sometimes called Scred Delver. If you read any of Andrea Mengucci's articles, he's really high on this style of deck. He's kind of shifted away from Delver. And to be honest, a lot of people have, because they've replaced it with Fairy Seer from Modern Horizons. Still, Delver of Secrets is a vintage and legacy level threat, so you really can't go wrong with this. And what you're going to have is what is more or less your basic tempo aggro control list. You want to stick a threat, clear a path, and just attack, control the threats. The big thing about this one is the interaction between Spellstarter Sprite, which is 1 in a blue, flash for a 1/1 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, you counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control. So, it's 1 or 2, or, in this deck up to 8. And the interaction between that and Ninja the Deep Hours, that's the ninja 3 in a U, but you can ninjutsu it in for 1 in a U, and every time it connects, you draw a card. And this deck was really hit hard by the banning of Gush, and really the banning of Gush, but it still manages to keep the cards flowing, and that's really a big deal. Pauper is a game of card economy. It's about trading resources, and if you're drawing an extra card a turn, that is really a great way to cement yourself into the driver's seat. But Kendra, can you talk to us a little about Andreas' deck in Affinity?
Absolutely. So Affinity is, it's Affinity. And unlike those of you who may not be as familiar with Pauper, but are familiar with more of Modern, for example. Modern is more actually the Affinity deck for that format actually has gotten the nickname over the years of Robots because it doesn't really run any Affinity cards. There's no real incentive to you because you don't really have so much by way of artifact lands. Most of them are banned in the Modern format. Here. Exactly. We have all of the artifact lands. We have the Affinity decks here. They all run Seed of Synod, Great Furnace, Tree of Tales, Darksteel Citadel, all as 4-ofs, and then usually either a Vault of Whispers or an Ancient Den, depending on the pilot's preference. Yeah. And you just literally spit out like Frogmites as quickly as possible for free. You put out Mirror Forcers for free. Big giant 4/4s. And even if you can't put those out for free, then you pay 2 mana and play a Carapace Forager.
Yeah. This deck spits out 4/4s like a token deck spits out 1/1s.
Pretty much, exactly. And, it's also fueled then by a lot of its draw spells. Obviously, it runs 4 Thought Casts, runs the Chromatic Stars, Prophetic Prisms to keep, drawing, fueling. And on top of that, a lot of those are also kind of mana rocks in a way to help fuel, fix your mana because your mana base is so all over the place. Mm-hmm. And, but the real key to winning this, not, obviously, you can get there with just a series of 4/4s and obviously the 5/6s of the Gear Seeker Serpents, which are basically also Affinity for artifacts. But the real winner that makes this matchup so choice is playing an Atog, sacrificing all of your permanents to it, and then casting Fling, which is sacrifice a creature, deal damage.
It's similar to Thud, but it's an instant.
Pretty much. And and you just throw a gigantic Atog at your opponent's face, and that's it. So it's very aggressive, it's very all in, and just goes for the throat.
There are a couple interesting things about Andreas' list. You'll see some lists that are just running the 16 artifact lands. Andreas is running an extra one, which I actually really like because it makes the deck a little bit more resilient to a key sideboard card out of decks that have access to mountains, which Evan is running, which is the Mox Monkey Gorilla Shaman. That's going to be something really interesting to watch in games 2 and 3 if we get to game 3, because Mox Monkey, 1/1, XX1, destroy target artifact, non-creature artifact with converted mana cost X or less. If you're paying 1, you're just stone raining your Affinity opponent for 1. But by having an extra land on top of the 4 Darksteel Citadels, which are indestructible, it gives you more access to these kind of not actual saw lands, but double mana lands. The other 2 interesting things in Andreas' list is he's running 2 copies of Metallic Rebuke. That's the the Improvise Mana Leak, which is not uncommon, but there's no Teamer Battle Rage. That is a card that Affinity decks have adopted because it doesn't mean you have to lose your ATOG. You don't have to go all in. You can kind of hold some artifacts back so that way if you do get blown out, you're not totally out of the water. And I think that having, we've seen a lot of lists recently. I think the ones that have won the most recent Pauper playoff and the most recent Pauper challenge had 2 copies of Fling and 1 of Teamer Battle Rage. So you're seeing additional ways to go above and beyond. But this is so I think this is a classic matchup, and I think our players are ready to go. So let's get down to match 1 of the first ever Pauper Premiere League.